Good afternoon, Mr. Thái Ngô.
Yes, good afternoon.
Firstly, can I ask you how can I define myself in 10 years working in some random places? How could I really define who I am?
Yep. Really good question, because if you think about how we're brought up, especially as a student, especially by your family, is that they get you to study a particular field in terms of studies or school, right, to do a course. And you are designing your life to complete that course. But once you complete the course, there's no design of your life for the next 10 years. Does that make sense? So you actually don't have a blueprint or design of where you want to go. So it's really, really important to actually start to think about and picture where you see yourself in the next 10 years. Because when you see that, you will automatically design your life to be that.
So I have to face the challenges every day.
So I'll give you an example. So if you go into a taxi and say, I want to go somewhere, take me somewhere. They're just going to probably drive you around in circles, aimlessly, right?
Costing me some money.
Taking you time, money, right? But if you know where the destination that you want to go, it's so much quicker. They will take you to that destination. Does it make sense?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the clear way.
That's an analogy, right? But you need to know that destination to tell them where you want to go.
Alright.
So for you need to understand your destination and where you want to go. So in order to do that, I'll give you some key tips, is that your studies doesn't define who you are. What defines who you are is, what is it that you're actually pretty good at? You know, what are some of the skills that people come to you and say, I need your help on this? It could be IT, it could be finance, it could be spreadsheets, it could be marketing, it could be creating ideas, it could be teamwork or leadership. Look at all the things that people rely on you for. That shows you that you got a natural talent in that space. Does that make sense?
Okay, so should I focus on multiple fields, or should I just focus on one particular field at first?
Yeah. You need to discover what is it that you're really good at, I think, and that's where you try different things first. As I think everyone wants to try to be good at everything. Naturally, right? We want to be the best at everything. But when you are if you try to be good at everything, you're actually good at nothing. You're going to be average at everything. Does that make sense? Everyone in life, this is what I've noticed, everyone has about 3 to 5 key skills that they're really, really good at. And in the world today, when it comes to people being employed, they employ you for a specialized role, for a very specific role that utilizes those skills. They don't try to employ you, one person, to do marketing, finance, IT, and everything, right? They don't. They only focus. No, never happens. Back then, maybe yes, ages ago, but nowadays it's very specialized. So understanding what is the 3 to 5 things that you are good at naturally, because when you're doing something that you enjoy and it's natural to you, you don't get stressed. It comes easy to you. And you are naturally going to be really good at it. You're going to see things that other people can't see. Does that make sense?
Building your own insights.
You build that own insights, because once you're clear on your own insights, it's going to really help you to say, actually, I'm really good at that. So for me, a bit about my background is, I was sort of forced by my parents to study IT, information technology. Because back then, this is like 15 years ago, they said, Ty, you should do something, and IT was big back then.
Maybe because you were a boy?
Maybe, and I think and my cousins also were doing all IT. They said, Ty, you should do it. Exactly right, so they just forced me to do it. I did IT at university, and I failed 3 years in a row.
God!
3 years.
It wasn't your thing?
It was not my thing.
God.
I did not enjoy sitting there writing codes and looking at how to code a machine or code a program. That was not me.
So how do you find a way to get out of that situation?
I had to reassess and reflect on what was it that I was good at. So I had to actually ask someone to say, what is it that what is it that you think that I'm good at?
Okay.
And then they also asked me, Ty, what is it that you enjoy doing? And the most common thing that came out was, I like talking to people. I like helping people. And that was the common thing, is that I prefer working in a team and dealing with people, not sitting there on my desk.
Oh.
So that was the first thing. So when I realized that and helping people, naturally I went into like business HR, because that's more about dealing with people. And that's how I discovered that's what I enjoyed. So when I did HR, I passed with flying colours, didn't fail anything. Compared to when I was doing IT, I just failed all the time.
Okay. So as you say, we should discover our ability and what we enjoy first. So how could I do that in the fastest way so I couldn't waste my time, especially with the young time, like the young period like this?
Yeah. Well, look at what you naturally like to do research on, if you think about it. So anything that you want to get into, you need to do research, or you want to practice, do some trials, etc. So if you're finding that, in your research, you like looking at how, maths is done or algorithms done, and you really, really enjoy it, you don't get bored of it, that means it's something that you really enjoy. If I looked at numbers all day, I'll be really bored. Because remember, that's going to be your life for the career. You're doing that 8 hours a day, at least, right?
Drives you crazy.
That's Monday to Friday in a job, typical job. So if you can imagine that years and years of doing that, would that drive you crazy?
Yeah.
If it doesn't, that means you enjoy it. So that's what I suggest. Yes, it's going to be a bit trying, a little bit an error, but that's okay. The more you understand yourself, the more you realize what is it that you enjoy and what is it that you don't enjoy. And then focus on the things that you do enjoy as much as possible, because you naturally are going to progress quicker in your career. Because people see that you'll perform better, you're going to be better at solving the problems in that area. Yeah, makes sense, right?
Right, really makes sense. So talking about your own journey in exploring yourself, when did you do that, and what makes you do that? What made you do that?
What made me do it? Yeah, good question. So when I failed university 3 years in a row, all I wanted to do was just work, get a job, because I was wasting money at university, wasting money, wasting time, and I said I'm just going to work. Now, I didn't have a qualification. I had no degree at that time or any qualifications, hardly any experience. So my first proper job was doing a factory job, pick and packing. I would work from 2:30, now sometimes even 1:30 in the afternoon, up until midnight, 6 days a week.
Without break or?
We'll have breaks, but there's no air conditioning, there's no heating. So if it's hot, it's really, really hot, there's no aircon. If it's cold, it's super cold. And I was physically putting bread in every day for 5 years.
5 years in a row.
5 years in a row.
You could really suffer that. I mean, how did you feel that? Do you feel satisfied with your situation, or?
This is what happens. People will put up with it because they're getting paid money, right? So the pain is there to say, this is not my dream job. But they don't see either a way out of it, so I couldn't see my way out of it, and I was just comfortable. And this is what happens when you're comfortable, you'll stick to what you do. True? And a lot of people, they do it because, it's not because they enjoy what they're doing, they're doing it because either they're comfortable or because of the money to provide for them. So what made me change, what actually made me want to go, I want to quit from this, is someone asked me this question: Ty, is this what you want to do for the rest of your life?
So you think about it, you reflect.
So when I looked around me, this is all I needed to do. I just needed to look around me in the factory. All these old guys, most of them were Asian, especially Cambodian, for whatever reason. There was a lot of Cambodians in the factory. They were there in their 40s, their 50s. They're about to retire. So when I imagine myself in their shoes, that's when it scared me. And human nature is you only take action, or you're more likely to take action is when you get scared of something, when you're in pain. So when I realized that's going to be my future, I'm going to retire in this factory like this, if I don't do anything about it, that's when my pain hit, and I was like, okay, I need to do something to change. And that's when I went to go back to study something that I enjoyed, which was HR, and got into, just did a short course. I didn't do something like a degree, and I got into recruitment.
How long was that course?
It was a 1-year course.
1 year?
Yeah,
You really enjoyed it, but did you define that was your passion or something? Because normally people would say that, oh, this is what I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
And did you define your passion, HR?
My passion is in HR, specifically more recruitment. Because how did I know it was what I was passionate about? I was passionate because I was helping people get into jobs. In a way, I was actually from the corporate side, so I wasn't the one that's helping you get a job. I was actually screening people that were not suitable and putting people forward that were suitable. So there's 2 types of recruitment. One is they're called employment consultant, which they help the ones that are really, they find it difficult to get a job. Their job is to actually help them get a job. My one was more corporate recruitment, which is finding the best talent for the company. And I'm talking about big companies. Yeah, so like your Telstras, your ANZ, Exxon Mobil, your government companies, etc. Those are the companies I used to recruit for. So they want the best of the best. And my job was to find those best people.
So your journey is getting out from a factory, thinking about your future, which was kind of limited.
Yeah.
And then you found a new way in HR, which really boosts your talent and boosts your ability. So do you remember how long it took you to really develop your career in HR?
It didn't take me long, actually. So the first time I started in the recruitment space, people would ask me, where did you come from? What was your background? And when I told them I did a factory job, they were shocked. They were like, it was unheard of. They're like, what the hell, and they're like, in a way, they kind of looked down at me. They said, oh, you're working from a factory. And within 3 months, I got promoted to managing consultant from a graduate.
It's quick.
It is quick.
How did you do that?
Because it was my natural talent.
Yeah.
Because naturally I was good, and I won the first 2 months. I won Employee of the Month, the first month and the second month in a row, and it just showed that was my passion, because I was really good at it. They saw my potential, and at 3 months they approached me and said, Ty, we want to promote you and give you the biggest client that we actually manage. And even I was saying, I'm not ready for it. I've only been here 3 months. I was actually telling them, give it someone else. But they said, no, we want you. So sometimes you don't realize it. A lot of times you don't actually realize what you're good at, and you need someone to tell you that.
Do you mean I should find a mentor for myself, or should I just ask my parents or someone that I could find around me? Or should I find a particular mentor for me to really give me the advice during my career pathway?
Yeah. If you think of the most successful people out there, and they could be either in sports, could be like, I think that Vietnam they're very massive in soccer, they like playing soccer, swimming, but even in business, etc. I'm saying pretty much nearly everyone out there, do they have a coach? In that space. Yeah? Tennis players will have a coach. Soccer players will have a coach. Yeah. The most successful coaches have coaches. So what's that saying? Is that you do need a coach to actually get you to where you want to be. So it could be anyone that is around you but find the people that you know is going to help you take you to that next level.
But how do you feel with somebody they don't, everybody around them doesn't support them? Like with me, my parents expect me to really get into the business field. I do enjoy communication, which really exploits my ability. How do you feel if not everyone supports you in that particular aspect?
You're going to have people that will try to define your career, define your life. Yeah, you should get married. You should have kids. Yeah, you should just buy a house and settle down. Yeah, that's a sort of conditioning that we are taught by parents, but also by school. This is the field that you should study in to get you build your career. In the end, you need to. If you feel like it's not right for you, then you do what you need to do to find where you want to go. Because the only person that can change it is yourself.
Yes.
No one else is going to change it for you. Either you want other people to make those decisions for you, for your life and for your career, or you take charge and make it on your own.
It can take a little bit of time for me to do that. It's worth time, right?
It doesn't need to be a big, massive change.
Yeah.
It could be just a little change that's going to help you, because the little changes is what makes define you, and it'll get you there. But you have to change.
I have to change, but how could I change in, I have my goals settled down here, but how could I really find the right way in that period of time? Let's say I want to be a manager in 5 years. How could I really discover my relevant talents to really achieve that goal?
Yep. So you've got that manager title or that position in 5 years' time, and that's fine. But to get to the manager position, you need to start off first working for someone. Yeah, you start off getting into a job. Once you're in the job, the first 12 months is actually for you to learn how to do the job really well, most of the time, right? The second year is when you are actually going to be really good at what you do, because it takes about 12 months for you to get up to speed. The second 12 months is you to it's going to be easy for you. And within that time, once it starts getting easier, once you're in a company or working for someone, you can start to say, I want to learn more about management or leadership, and they will support you. Most big companies, there's always giving you training, giving you opportunities to learn, right? And to improve yourself. So the step is, rather than saying, I want to get straight to the manager and that's my title, there is things down there that you need to learn first.
Right.
Yeah.
So have you ever met somebody that find difficult in defining themselves? What was your advice on that particular case?
Yeah. So this is when the first thing I ask anyone when I'm actually meeting them and they're a bit lost, they don't know what to do, or they're unsure of what to do the next step. The first question I ask is, tell me about you. Tell me about, what is it about you that makes you unique? And that question is a simple question. What's the very first question that a recruiter or an employer will ask you? Tell me about yourself. Tell me a bit about your background. Tell me about what you want to get into, your career aspirations. And if you don't know the answer, that means you're unsure about who you are. Yeah, and the key thing that you need to know is you need to know who you are and what is it that you want in life. Because people will hire people that have that ability to say, I want that, and I know that I can do it because these are the things I can offer to get there. People hire people that are sure of themselves. Yeah? So that's a key tip for the people, the viewers that are watching. In order for you to be standing out against any competition, against anyone, is you need to be confident about yourself first. Yeah. So imagine me as if I apply for a job, and let's say a manager job as an example, but I'm not confident to be a manager. Said, can you please give me an opportunity? Can you please give me a chance? They're not going to hire me.
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's a key tip. Be confident in yourself and what you want in life, and people will see that.
Could you say that I should position myself in the industry that I desire to be in? But how could I really build up that mindset? I mean, maybe I know that what I have to do, my action is to entitle myself with some adjectives or with some nouns, but how do I do it in a correct way?
Yeah, that self-belief is a very big thing in a lot of actually it's a core part of life. But in society at the moment, a lot of people are taught to be humble, to downplay what they can offer and to downplay what they can do. So your parents will teach you to be humble, be modest, don't oversell yourself. Yeah, that's what they teach you in life. But if you're underselling yourself or being humble, if you even look up the definition, is actually saying you're downplaying who you are as a person. So why downplay who you are and let another person talk good about themselves to their best ability?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And that's why you're letting someone else, because who's going to be selling you in an interview or in a presentation, in any setting? Who's going to sell you? No one. It's only yourself.
Right.
And if you can't sell yourself, then the other people is going to sell themselves better. They're going to get the opportunity. They're going to get that promotion. They're going to get that job over you.
Tell me a little bit about yourself, because I do want to know about your personal branding. How did you build that up? And when you start to build that up? Yeah.
So there's two key components that's going to help you be more successful. One is your personal brand, and personal branding is all about what is your values, what is it that you're naturally good at, what do people can see in you naturally. So your personal brand needs to be something that people go, I see you're more of a technical guy, an IT guy, and that you are very friendly, you can work in a team. That's your brand. When someone looks at you or they think about you and they'll go, yep, this is how they describe you. That's your personal brand. All right, so to understand that, you need to understand yourself a fair bit. The second part is your professional brand. So this is probably quite new. A lot of people, no one really teaches you this, but professional brand means when someone is hiring you, they're hiring you for you from a professional sense. Yeah, they're hiring you because they're paying you money for you to solve their problems. They're not paying you money for the sake of paying you money. They're paying you money specifically for you to do something. So your professional brand is all about selling what is it that you can do to solve that particular problem. Yeah, and it's aimed purely at that problem. So if they've got a marketing problem, let's say for example, and you are really good at communications, talk about all the communication things that you can do. You can write newsletters, you can write blogs, you can do videos, you can do social media, and the more you can talk about that problem in that communication space, they go, you know what you're talking about, and you will specialize in that, and we want to hire you. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Right. And when did you realize that to change yourself to build that personal brand and professional brand?
I started to analyze people because my job as a recruiter, over the last 11 years, I've interviewed over 10,000 people. I'm constantly interviewing people. So each time I read a resume, I'm looking at it, does it match to what I'm looking for? Each time I'm picking up the phone and speaking to someone over the phone and asking them very specific questions. Do they align or match with the role? Each time I'm interviewing them, asking an interview question, because that's me on the other end, I'm making sure that everything fits in. I started to realize that the people that were most successful had that personal brand and professional brand, regardless of their experience. Like as in, regardless they had not even relevant experience, regardless of their qualification. Because if you think about it, ask some people out there, ask the successful people out there, did they get a job that they had the same experience or background? Most people don't.
Right.
They don't. They have totally something different. They come from a different background, different qualification most of the time. So it doesn't actually mean that your experience or your qualifications makes you successful. It's actually the interaction part, the speaking and the interviewing part. Because if you can't pass an interview, if you can't speak to someone, you're never going to get a job. Doesn't matter how good you are on paper, doesn't matter how much experience that you have, doesn't matter you worked for a really good company. If you can't pass the interview, you're never going to get a job.
So you talk about, other people helping you to realize your real ability, your real talent. But is that sometimes a little bit pushover for you to just listen to everybody and then do as they say?
No, it's more getting feedback on how they see you.
Right.
Because we're really good at judging people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will judge anyone around us. Straight away we'll make a judgment about the way they wear, the way they look, the way they talk, right?
Yeah.
Or their background, in your mind all the time, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to judging yourself, if I had to ask you to judge yourself, people have no idea how to judge themselves because they don't know what other people think about them. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Right.
So the more you understand what people start saying or thinking about you, you then start to understand yourself more. And then either you can use it to your advantage, the things that are good that you want them to think, and you go, yeah, I actually wanted them to think that I'm smart or whatever it is, right? But the things that they are a bit more negative, they go, oh, that guy he doesn't listen, doesn't like to listen, or doesn't show that he's very warm and doesn't like to be friendly. Those things then you maybe want to change to mold it into something that is going to be, that perfect image of yourself. Because once you have that image, if you think about all the stars out there, all the famous people out there, when you look at them, you've got an image about them straight away. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they know who they are, and then the world knows who they are. So that's why asking for feedback is very, very important. Because feedback is actually truth. It's truth about you. And it depends on what you want to do about that truth, if you want to take action, or if you don't want to take action. But exactly right. But in the end, if you want to build yourself into a better person, you have to change certain things, and that's the only way that people learn, and that's how I learned. Because I wasn't born. No one's born perfect, right? No one's born good. So you need to improve yourself.
Above all, what is your advice with the people who really discovered themselves already, but they still don't know what to do right away after discovering their ability?
The first thing that you really need is to get a job. Because experience, especially here in Australia, will outweigh qualifications. People always look at, or you may have heard, we prefer experience. Yeah, we prefer, or some sort of experience. Doesn't matter if it's overseas, doesn't matter if it's here, local experience. Obviously they have a preference of local experience, but experience is still experience. Because experience, the problems that you will face in a job outweighs the problems that you will deal at university. Because at university, it's always the same problem. And the problem is, I worked in a project with a team. Yeah. And we had to do an assignment together. If you think about it, right? Yeah. The problems are exactly the same. And each time I used to interview a graduate, that was their response. 9 out of 10 times, their response was, give me an example whenever you face a problem or work in a team. I remember when I was working in a project for this assignment. So you want to get experience to showcase that you're different straight away. It will always outweigh it. Now, I want to give you a key tip for you and the viewers is that on how to get a job better, how to actually stand out from an interview. Okay? So
what you can do is in a group. Group could be 3 to 4 people. In that group, all you need is a group of people. You need a timer, so it could be using a mobile. And what you do is each person needs to go up on stage or in a setting, an open setting, and they need to present to the rest of the group about themselves. So they have, and the time frame is 60 seconds. They need to pitch themselves to that group. What makes them unique and why they should be hired. And the group needs to score them. Okay? They need to score you. So you imagine that you're on stage and you're doing a pitch about yourself. Because in an interview, you're pitching. You're constantly pitching about yourself to say, hire me, and this is why. So you have to practice that. And the biggest reason people fail in an interview
is they get nervous, they forget to say things, or they say random things, and because they don't know how to pitch about themselves. So the more confidence that you can build in pitching yourself to your friends or to even strangers, or even start recording yourself, that skill is going to help you get a job because you're going to get over the nerves. Yeah. So that's a key tip that's going to highly increase your chances of getting a job.
That's great. I mean, is that from your own experience in being interviewed?
Yeah. I'm naturally a shy guy. I'm naturally very shy, and the only reason why I was able to make a good impression from a factory job into a corporate job recruiter was because I would put myself in the settings to talk to people that I wasn't normally comfortable with. I was shy approaching people and asking how's your day, or if someone I didn't know. Yeah, I'm naturally very, very shy, but I got over it, and that was the skill that helped me get jobs in the future, helped me get promotions, helped me do whatever I want to do. And even, especially now in my business, it helps me talk to directors, CEOs, founders, people that are earning multi-million dollars, and I can talk to them. Because if I can't talk to them, if I can't hold my own, and I feel nervous, they can tell straight away, and straight away they're not going to do business with me. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Always keep in mind that you should get a job to mainly gain more experience and stay hungry for all the jobs out there. With the youngsters, nowadays we have so many choices, and sometimes we get lost. And I really hope that your advice today will somehow help us to be on the right track again. And thank you for today. For really have a mentoring advice for me on how to really discover myself. I really hope that in the future we will have some other time to work on this topic or on some other interesting topics with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, thank you for your time, your effort, and your advice.
You're welcome. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.